Boss Baby was released in 2017 by DreamWorks Animation, and let's just say it didn't go over that well for some audiences.
Us proof if he's talking or not. I have no idea what's going on.
Whatever this is, just please, just stop it, dude.
This movie's objectively better in the second half, but still butts.
I want to talk about the crime against humanity, the scourge of planet Earth, the eighth deadly sin, the aberration, the monstrosity, the travesty that is the Boss Baby.
I've watched a lot of these videos, not all, and I can see some points that they make. But before I get into all of that, let me do a brief recap of the movie if you for some reason haven't seen it yet. Our protagonist is 7-year-old Tim, who doesn't want a sibling but gets one anyway. He's called the Boss Baby, but is named Theo after he, spoiler alert, turns into Tim's official brother. But I'm just gonna call him the baby.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the new baby takes up most of his parents' attention, understandably, and it turns out the baby is a secret agent from Baby Corp trying to investigate PuppyCo for its new puppies that are stealing love away from babies. The two don't get along very well at all until they realize that they need to work together so that eventually the two of them will never have to see each other again. Of course, the two bond and eventually foster some affection towards each other, and Tim asks him to be his official brother, and they grow up together. Overall, it's a movie with a unique premise, but that's why a lot of children gravitate towards it. Not all though. Imagine a baby being a boss. Total opposites. Okay, now we get into the critics. I'm not going to address all of them because I haven't watched every single review, and also because I want to keep this short and expand more on my own opinions on the movie. Something I hear a lot about this movie is how it's a blatant cash grab. And I mean, yeah, by its definition, it's definitely a cash grab. That's how businesses make money. Okay, alright. I understand that people are calling it so because they think that the final product is not artistically innovative and not worth its budget. And well, subjectivity is subjectivity. It's fine if you don't like it, it's fine if you do. I just feel that calling any product a cash grab when the process of making it involves hundreds of people just feels dismissive of everyone's efforts. I believe that most movies shouldn't be judged solely because of the audience expectations based on promotional material, because I find it to be on a category of its own, which is marketing failure. The blame shouldn't lie with the movie, it should lie with the promos. Secondly, some people don't like the animation since it looks somewhat generic, but like, come on! Generic is generic for a reason. It appeals to everyone a little at the very least, and for this movie, I really like its style, especially because of how it captures the essence of children being bubbly and exaggerating reality. There are also some really good scenes that help play into Tim's imagination more, which a lot of critics do praise, and so do I. Then there's the jokes. I get that fart jokes and simple slapstick humor aren't popular nowadays, and I can respect that. But I swear, I can tell when a few of these critics are trying so hard not to enjoy the humor of the show. Not every joke gets a laugh out of me, but they still do make me smile in some way. The slapstick comedy works for me. It's over the top, especially during the chase sequences. The way Tim tries to convince his parents that there is something seriously wrong with the baby is hilarious in my opinion. Tim is gaslit so hard here, and the way his parents are so nonchalant and the baby is subtly trying to hide its suitcase here is just plain funny to me. Side note, this character is hilarious. He's built like a damn bodybuilder, and his gruff but emotional nature really plays well into this film. He's so menacing in this scene, literally muttering to himself, and just casually puts on eyebrows he just ripped from the babysitter. He's the funniest character in this movie for me. Also, cookies. Other critics have a bone to pick with the reality of the show. Some do rightfully point out how the boss baby arrives in a taxi, but his mom was pregnant. Others are confused as to whether the boss baby was truly wearing a suit and acting like an adult, or if it's just part of Tim's overactive imagination. And then they point out how if he was wearing a suit, surely his parents would find it weird. Then they also have problems with the climax and how everything is fixed with a memory wipe, and to that I say, have you tried watching any fictional movie? Ever? There is a certain level of suspension of disbelief needed to really enjoy any fictional piece of media. For the first point, I do agree it's strange, but we can just chalk it up to how in this world, Baby Corp delivered the baby via a taxi and brainwashed the parents into believing that it's their child, and how it's normal for him to wear a suit and carry a briefcase. I mean, if Baby Corp exists and can wipe people's memories, why couldn't it do that? In my opinion, this level of ludicrousness actually makes the movie more memorable and enjoyable, since it contributes to the main banter of Tim being the only sane one trying to convince his brainwashed parents that the baby is weird. Gives me a lot of B-movie vibes where Ken is the only sane character in the whole movie.
Oh, that bee is living my life!
Let it go, Kenny.
When will this nightmare end?
Let it all go.
Okay, now we move on to the good stuff. I'd like to go through the story once more with you and highlight what I feel a lot of reviewers underestimated, which is the whole message of the movie, quantifying love. From the very start of the movie, it's about Tim wanting to be an only child, and when his baby brother enters his life, he feels all the attention going away from him, which is fairly accurate. He even goes as far as trying to murder him just to turn things back to normal. And this attention pretty much equates to love for most of these characters, which is what the movie's trying to dispel. Attention doesn't necessitate love. Love doesn't mean always giving attention. When Tim gets his baby brother, he feels threatened. His parents always used to sing him his lullaby to sleep, and now they don't do that anymore. They're too tired watching over the baby, and he feels this lack of attention, interpreting it as his parents not loving and caring for him as much. Then you remember the mission he's on, to find out what is going on in Puppy Co, to see how they are able to steal attention away from children to puppies, which they also equate to love through the pie chart. In the end, once they stop Puppy Co and he goes back to his company and gets promoted, they both realize that there is a part of them that's missing. Right now, both have the attention they always wanted. Tim now has the full attention of his parents, and the baby has the full attention of the entire office as the boss baby. But both still want each other in their lives, knowing that the amount of attention or praise they would get would reduce. But they would still have each other and love. The whole point is that no matter the fact that Tim's parents are now preoccupied with him, that doesn't mean they love Tim any less. They still do, they just have to split their attention because that's the limiting factor here, attention. I'd like to talk about this pie chart for a bit. Like I mentioned earlier, Baby Corp keeps track of the amount of attention everything receives and charts it on this graph, which is a cold, methodical way of looking at something so intangible and full of emotion. We also have a sort of inkling that this way of looking at love is inherently flawed by how the pie chart is drawn. It's in the shape of a circle, but it's actually just a small portion of the heart it's truly inside of. A recurring phrase in this movie is loving with all your heart. Clearly, Baby Corp hasn't looked at it that way since they only looked at a portion of it. Also, one thing to note is how the way they view love is sort of like looking at shareholders of a company of love. The greater the shareholder amounts, the more influence they have. But this only works in real life with money used as currency because money is limited. As a semi-economic student, money works because it's limited, which creates its demand and supply. If there was truly infinite money, money would lose its value assigned to it by users. This is how inflation works. When there's too much money in circulation, every dollar drops in perceived value. As a cold business corporation, Baby Corp inherently cannot understand anything beyond this, since no one there has had a family before, because love in a family isn't a form of currency. It's intangible and unlimited, It's nothing like what they've worked with before. The amount of love you have for one person doesn't diminish when you love someone else. You don't love your parents any less when you start to show love to your friends and family you make. That love just grows. Which reminds me of this song from Barbie the Island Princess.
If we make room for someone new, doesn't mean that there's less for you, only means that our circle has grown.
Speaking of the unfeeling corporate ladder, another theme interwoven is a dichotomy between family and management. At the very beginning, you needed to be of a certain nature to be deemed acceptable enough to enter a family. Of course, the baby frames it in such a way that not being selected for a family makes you better, but through this film, I think you can see he was just being delulu. You needed to have a tickle spot in your belly area, but he doesn't have it and is immediately sent to work in Baby Corp, quickly replacing his baby attire with something more professional. This was actually brought up by Tim when he realized that he didn't have any real parents. He was never brought up in a family filled with love. He only knew the office. So to receive the love of family and friends was something unfamiliar to him, hence why he acted so cold towards his subordinates and Tim. He dealt with every issue through money, instead of his emotions, like how he gave this girl money after biting her as a form of compensation. He even suggested getting fired from your own family if they stopped giving you love and attention. After Tim's parents are rescued and he goes back, he's changed because he now knows the love of a family, a stark difference from the calculating, profit-driven company he was born into, which is why he felt so unsatisfied. The prospect of love from Tim is what made him decide to quit his job and join his family after all. This was also the moment he took control of the pie chart, spinning it so fast that all the different sections all blended into one and filling the whole heart, because that's how love works. It's not sectioned up into neat little pieces. It's a colorful blob full of emotions to anything and everything. I'd like to go back to the baby not having the right tickle spot. I think the system puts the emphasis on this specifically because as kids, we often get tickled by parents, and that happens to be where most of us are ticklish. We could interpret this as the system forcing a certain type of white picket fence family, and if you strayed off from what could be considered a normal family baby, you could be seen as lacking and hence sent to management. Either that, or they sent him off because they thought it meant he can't smile at all and wouldn't make a very good baby. Still, my point stands, which is that the system wrongfully imposes conditions to make a life qualified to be worthy of familial love. In the end, even though he was portrayed to be a cold, calculative, and have little to no happy emotion, he still longed for the glimpse of familial love he received during his mission, showing that anyone and everyone deserves to be given a good family in love. Along with the business comes brotherhood. I feel this genuinely struck a chord with me because, just like Tim, I had somewhat of a large age gap with my younger sibling, so I experienced the same feeling of claustrophobia that he did. This movie does a good job of portraying sibling rivals to sibling love. No, listen to me. Not lover, just love. Familial love. Got that? Okay, let's continue. The speech really brings it home for me.
Promise you this. Every morning you wake up, I'll be there. Shh. Every night at dinner, I'll be there. Every birthday party, I'll be there. Every Christmas, I'll be there. Year after year after year, we will grow old together. You and I. We'll be brothers.
The baby brings this up first in a negative light, showing how he'll be forced to be his brother if he fails his mission, and Tim's terrified. But in the end, when the two are missing each other, we revisit the speech from Tim's point of view, but this time it's framed in a positive light, coming from a place of support rather than shackles.
Dear Boss Baby, I don't usually write very much, but now I know that memos are very important things. Even though I never went to business school, I did learn to share in kindergarten. And if there isn't enough love for the two of us, then I want to give you all of mine. And I promise you this. Every morning when you wake up, I will be there. Every night at dinner, I will be there. Every birthday party, every Christmas morning, I will be there. Year after year after year. We will grow old together, and you and I will always be brothers. Always.
That's the thing with siblinghood. Everyone goes through that phase of hating and then slowly learning to live, laugh, love with your sibling. Initially, Tim's parents wrote him a special lullaby, and when his brother came along, he was terrified of the thought that the lullaby would then be used on him. He didn't want to let go of that portion of love his parents gave him to his brother. In the end though, when Tim has to convince his brother in baby form to listen to him when he's about to get obliterated by a rocket launch, he realizes that talking like an adult wouldn't do much good to a baby. It's showing love, and he does so by singing him his lullaby. It's come full circle that Tim now doesn't just want to passively watch his parents share their love, but he wants to personally pass that love down from his parents to him in his time of need. Okay. One last thing I want to point out which makes this film so memorable: the imagination sequences. Initially, it was a medium to showcase how his parents supported him in his quests, and we see that this is how Tim bonds with his family. He goes on wondrous adventures, fighting villains and playing the hero, which is common for children his age, while his parents help play the role of villain or supporting characters. He also represents his family as a triangle, a fixed shape with 3 distinct sides, each representing a family member, and explains how he feels nothing could harm his family of 3. Then, once his brother arrives, he sees his parents moving in super speed, scrambling around to find ways to calm the baby down. He also imagines himself as an intruder hunter in his base and finds the baby's toys quickly filling up his living room and kitchen, taking over his own items, which, side note, reminds me of Harry Potter the Deathly Hallows and when all the items started multiplying. It shows how he feels his brother's presence and impact was way too fast for him to comprehend. It also reminds me of a virus with how it spreads rapidly from the living room to the kitchen, which further plays into how Tim views his brother negatively. Side note, the imagination here is also wonderfully used to show Tim imprisoned and helpless as no one believes him about the baby. Finally, it's used to showcase the bond between the brothers. The baby needs Tim to cycle without training wheels, and he recalls how Tim operates based on his imagination, and finally, after a long streak of him being formal and cold, he asks Tim to be silly and imaginative. This is also seen later on when the duo fight against the ex-boss baby, now both fully immersing themselves into Tim's imaginative land, which helps them save the day. Once Tim's brother is officially accepted, his family shape changes from a rigid triangle to a beautiful heart, symbolizing that Tim no longer cares about the fact that his family is made of 3, but the fact that he loves all of his family members. Okay, this video has probably gone on long enough. In conclusion, Boss Baby should receive a lot more credit than it's due because of its beautiful themes and how they are weaved into the plot. It's a movie about kids, for kids, and adults. Even if you still think this movie is a piece of garbage, I'm sure the 2 growing closer touched you just a little bit, especially if you have siblings. It's definitely not a perfect movie, and it has some jokes and moments I may not like, but overall, it's still a good movie to me, and I don't care what you say. I just hope that after watching this, you'll give this movie another chance and really try to give it a fair watch instead of being swayed by other critics' opinions. In the meantime, I'm gonna give the sequel a shot. Hopefully it's not too bad.
Wow.